Monday, starting it off with a bang, live, casually flying through the galaxy, far, far away. We have pictures here on the screen from Skeleton Crew and Ahsoka, because I felt like I wanted Carson Teva on the thumbnail. And thus we have Carson Teva on the thumbnail. Monday, thanks everybody for joining us. The chat is already going. Let's bring everybody in here. You guys ready? We got Heidi up left, executive producer Heidi. Heidi, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
Great. Got the Monday Night Jam in my head. I'm loving it. Ready to talk Star Wars. Scotty Hawk from Scotty Hawkish. Google his name. Scotty, how's it going?
It's good, man. I didn't know that we could just put people on the thumbnails that we like. Does that work?
I didn't say it worked. I said that's what I'm doing.
Touche.
Yeah. I don't think it works, but I don't care. You know what? I haven't put any tags or anything. There's not even a description. Is there a description? I don't even know what's on here. I got to fix that issue on YouTube. But somehow we got people finding us. We got Ron, Dale, Goof all here. Thanks, guys, for stopping by. I should put a poll up as well. But Star Wars is here. Over the weekend, an Empire magazine, not Empire Records, which would make me happier, but Empire magazine put out an article about Skeleton Crew, which is like, thank frick, because this show is like, there's no buzz surrounding this show. The only buzz I see about this show is that there is no buzz about this show, which is kind of ironic. But Heidi, Scotty, I'm going to start with you, Heidi. Are you looking forward to Skeleton Crew?
Yeah, actually I am, but I just want to say a quick happy birthday to the late Carrie Fisher.
Oh, nice.
Today would have been her birthday. I forget what.
Her 68th birthday today.
Yay, as you can.
Sheesh.
Oh, just like in The Last Jedi. Happy birthday, dear princess. Okay. Anyway.
She's in a coma. In the movie.
Yes. It's funny because when I went to see The Rise of Skywalker, it came out after she died, and when the ship explodes and she gets blown into space, and someone back of me goes, "Oh, that's how she dies."
Yeah, that was kind of. They had that there. They could have taken it, but they decided no, they're going to stick with their plan and revive her, for better or worse, I suppose. And we ended up getting what we got in The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to Skeleton Crew. It looks very interesting. I'm intrigued by Julaw's character.
Jod Nana Wood.
John Nana Wood. Okay.
That's his name. Jod Nana Wood.
Shanana.
I miss
John Wood. I like it.
John. I always think of the Muppets. No. Mana. That's what I think of. I miss Luke, Han, Leia. Simple names. Watto. That's what I miss. The good old days. Scotty, you looking forward to Skeleton Crew?
Yeah, I am. And my real quick take on it is I already mentioned this off camera to you guys before, but my only hope is that it just doesn't turn into a Bad Batch. No offense to the show, but just a story that I want to have big implications. Like, I'm ready for the Star Wars universe to expand even further than it did in Ahsoka. So here's hoping. But
I did a sorry, how are you going?
I was going to say I know I brought this up before. I think the whole point of this is to be like Robin from Batman or Short Round from the Indiana Jones series. I think it's for the kids in the audience to go along with the hero or anti-hero or whomever this person tends to be. And talking about last week how there aren't any tie-ins, with merchandise. I think this would be the perfect vehicle to have merchandise, especially with the little elephant kid. I don't know his name.
Neil.
Okay. Neil.
Yeah.
Neil.
No, I think his name is Neil.
How boring.
His father's name is Zod.
Justice for Neil.
Justice for Neil. He's a god. All these kids just dissolve at the end of the series. It just get blown up.
No, didn't we already decide his dad is in
Max
that
Rebo?
band? Yes. Yep.
I heard that he's not actually the same species now. I'm hearing that he's not the same
Interesting.
species as Max Rebo because, you know, why?
You can't have
I
that.
don't know.
No.
You can't. You can't have that at all. Why would you want to make people happy? Which is something you can't make anyone happy. First of all, like Star Wars fans are like, I don't know, just.
Well, you know, here's hoping that his species is from another area of the galaxy or planets that we've never visited before. You know, maybe that's what they're trying to do, is like distance away from some stuff we know already.
All I know is Tatooine's the only planet we ever revisit. Like every movie, like you think we're going to the same world, and it turns out to be a different one. Like during The Last Jedi, I think everybody thought they were going to go to Hoth, and then they realized it wasn't Hoth; it was a salt planet.
Yeah,
salt.
So it's like, so every movie that comes out, it's a different planet. It's not the same one. Like Jakku, I think the other thing is like Jakku. I think everybody thought Jakku was Tatooine, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, Tatooine, everything. That's why I think Tatooine's the center of the Star Wars universe, because
I think it is too. I think people need to get over being sick of Tatooine and accept that Star Wars and Tatooine go hand in hand. I think that, honestly, like I'm not just saying that as a miserable old man, old miserable dude. I'm just saying that as like the fact that you gotta like think when you watch Star Wars, you watch it for a reason. And what is that reason? I mean, the reason is not Tatooine, but the reason also is a large part of it is Tatooine, because that's where a lot of Star Wars, the original trilogy, 2 out of the 3 movies have large chunks on Tatooine. So I don't think you always have to be on Tatooine. I'm not saying that, but I think acknowledge like Tatooine isn't bad. It's not bad to be on Tatooine. And I think the Book of Boba Fett, which is the greatest thing to ever come out in the history of television, Scotty, worked because it was on Tatooine.
I'm watching for the Twi'lek personally, but I mean, hey, Tatooine, you know, same. You can
always leave it, but I think it's an important. People complain about it, but then at the same time, you know, you watch Dune, and that's 3.5 hours on the sand planet. Also, you know, they have sandworms. Tatooine has krayt dragons.
Well, I remember as a kid, I used to be confused because they had Tatooine and Dantooine. It's like, what's?
Yeah.
Thought we were going to see Naboo. There was rumors of Naboo in one of these shows. What happened? Kenobi? I think there was rumors.
I think it's going to be Andor.
Andor. That would be tight.
Andor.
If it's an Andor season 2.
Goof Arnie Thrive are 35 in the chat. Disney could have put in more effort like George did with Naboo, Kashyyyk, Mustafar, Geonosis, and other new planets. Yeah, I think some of the new planets we've gotten have we gotten anything spectacular like new planet? I feel like we might have, but like Jakku is just Tatooine, Krayt is Hoth. Like for better, like that's basically what they are. Have we I'm trying to think of what we got, like Mandalorian. I'm sure we've gotten a couple cool looking things, but even the one where he goes to find Baby Yoda, Grogu in that first episode is basically he's on Tatooine there. Have we gone any new really spectacular planets? And we got the Captain Bombardier
Exegol.
one.
I mean,
Exegol has, you know what? The planet Mustafar. I was going to say the planet before that Kylo Ren's on, but that's Mustafar. So
yeah. I mean, honestly, like I think it'd be. Yep, Canto Bight too. I think it would be cool to see. I would love to see the present day Mustafar, because growth has started to return to that planet in comics and things like that. That'd be cool to see.
I'm with. I'm also. I like that too, and I like Vermont Mike seeing Moraban, Korriban in live action as well.
You know, I think we're due. I think we're due for some of these older planet names coming up, because we're going to be getting Old Republic content here, I think, sooner than later.
Like, what was it? The Mystery Planet in the Acolyte. They just called it planet.
I like it, you know what drives me? I hate, so one of my things that I don't like 90% of the time, because 10% I don't mind it, is when they put names of locations on the screen when you're watching a movie. I didn't like that in Rogue One, and I don't like that in The Acolyte. And part of the reason why I didn't like it was because Even in Rogue One, they do this where they're like, "We're not gonna give you the name of this planet," and you're like, "Why? Why?" You listed every name, and you're suddenly not going to tell us what this planet's called. They're like, "It's a secret." What's the secret? Tell me the name of your stupid planet, you stupid heads. That's all. It's, you know what I mean? Like Mustafar is not listed. Like it's not named. They don't put the name on the screen, which I still think is because they were terrified of the prequels when they made that movie. Disney was just terrified of the prequels for way too long when they first took over. But like I think there's another one that's not mentioned in the Acolyte. Yeah, Mystery Planet. Now we'll never know what that planet is. Whether it matters or not, I don't know.
I think it's supposed to be the planet where they got the Cortosis.
Yeah.
It's in Legends or something, but like I said, we won't find out.
I think Mystery Planet is Acto. Why else keep it a secret? Yeah, but even then, why keep it a secret? Like, well, I don't think anyone. And chat, go for it. Try me. Pitch me an idea as to why you would keep that planet a secret. Okay, and you know what? You can keep it a secret in episode 5, 6, but by the end of the series, why is it still a secret? Pitch me, because I don't know if anyone can convince me as to that being a good reason. How do you? I can see the wheels spin, and you want to convince me.
I don't want to convince you. I'm just saying what I think was in their heads was they were saving it for season 2 because Plagueis was there, and it was whatever planet Plagueis and his master was from. I don't know the I really didn't read the EU, so I don't know. So it was the planet where the Cortosis was from.
Yeah. Baldemnik.
Yeah, that's what most. So that was supposed to be a big reveal in season 2, I guess.
I still think in my headcanon it's that headcanon that it's that planet because of the vein, like you were saying, that was in the cave that they were hanging out in.
But why not tell us? Like, wouldn't you want fans to get excited?
That's why.
Well, because if you
be a surprise, why does it need to be a surprise? Why can't they just be like, "Hey, we've got some awesome freaking crap here. Look what we're dropping. Enjoy it." Why does it always be like, "We're gonna keep this away"? It's like,
I think it was simply just to inform us that there are plans for Plagueis. I think that's literally the only reason that they reveal him.
And now there's not. So.
Well, no, I'm saying like.
Well,
the plan didn't necessarily have to be a season 2 either. It could be a movie, it could be a future show, but just introducing him visually to us and the general audience is now everybody's like, wait, who is that? So now all the sweaties are talking about the book and etc. And they want us to speculate about the planet. They don't want us to have that answer yet, or we would have known. So
I still don't know why you just don't tell me the name of this freaking planet. Like, if you tell me the name of the planet, I get more excited about the planet. All of a sudden, I Google the planet. I find out there's books and crap that take place on this planet. That's like right now they're like, guys, it's just a secret planet, and you're just like, is it Octo? Is it like you're just this is who cares? Like, and then the show's canceled. So then now you're really like, who cares? I think they try too hard to keep everything a secret. I think we talked about this last time, but remember Force Awakens? We didn't know anything, and then they told us Kylo Ren, they told us Rey, they didn't tell us much about them, but we had more information we're getting nowadays, and I think it was a lot more fun then. And it just feels like it feels almost like they're cheating us in a lot of ways when it comes to this stuff. They're like, we don't want to. They have the information, but they just don't want to give it to us. It's strange.
Well, that was my complaint, that if you're going to do a show and you need to get the necessary information out in one season because you don't know that you're going to get a second season. And now the people who, like me, who are actually fans of the show, are disappointed because I want to know what that plan is. I want to know what Plagueis' involvement is. Yeah. I want to know what Yoda's involvement is. I want to know what happened to this couple of Chimere and Osha. And I love the Chimere villain. That's the freshest villain we've had in a long time. And people said, "Oh, you like him better than Vader?" I said, "No, I don't like him better than Vader. It's just when Vader came out, we had never seen anything like him. But every other villain from then on has pretty much been a carbon copy of Vader. Well, now here's this other villain that comes out who's got actually a personality and can be the clown and is not afraid to do that. And he could care about someone. I mean, you could argue Kylo Ren cares about somebody, but the point is he's more than one dimensional. And I don't like the fact that here we have this amazing character, and I'm afraid the only thing we're going to get is a comic.
Oh, please don't do that to us.
Everyone's very triggered about Plagueis. I don't understand like me personally, as far as like massive mistake, leave good characters alone, hubris, thinking that season 2 would happen. It's like, in my mind, I don't think that Lucasfilm was planning to give us the Plagueis backstory in a season 2 of The Acolyte.
No, I
crazy,
agree with that.
But like,
yeah,
he was literally just a cliffhanger to let us know that he's going to be in stuff, that he's around this time period. We don't even know if we're going to get anything in this time period ever again. We might not. Like, if we do, it has to be leading into like young Palpatine stuff. So whether it never gets addressed ever again, it's basically your judgment as to whether or not you liked the CGI and nothing more, because they didn't give us anything more. I'm not upset that they didn't. I don't want his entire story fleshed out in a television show. So yeah, I mean, and as far as like leave the good characters alone, okay, so we're not going to do any High Republic films at all. Or no, sorry, we're not going to do any Old Republic content now at all. We're going to leave all those good Old Republic characters alone. We're just going to go forward from Rey. You guys don't want any of the old good stuff? Like, that's a bold choice. That's a bold choice.
I don't know if they're going to give us any of the old stuff, and I don't know if they're going to give us any of the Rey stuff. I think they're...
But to say to leave all good characters alone, what's your take on that?
I think no. How do you leave them alone is what I would say. I think
right.
But the thing, here's the problem. I think that fans are having with it is that you're taking characters created by somebody else and you're putting your own personal spin on it. And I think that's what is offending fans, is that they don't feel like they're writing the character, they're writing the writer or whoever is writing their version of the character. And I don't know if that is I don't know how true that is. I think there are some instances, not just with Star Wars, but other things where you're like, ugh, that's not like Star Wars. I haven't felt that, but I feel like that's the vibe that you get when you talk to people. And I'm talking about people on YouTube chat who just want to not chat comments who just hate Star Wars now. But like, it's almost like they what do they call Jake's? Not you guys. You guys are great. Jake Skywalker is what they say, right? Because they didn't feel like Luke was written the way he should have been. Luke. I think, but there's more than that. And I think when you deal with characters that are beloved, you've got to treat them the way they were beloved, or you're going to see. I mean, look at the Joker 2, the greatest sequel ever made. That was one movie, and they changed. I don't even think they changed them, to be honest. I think they just finished the story that people didn't like. But like, if you mess with the IP, fans are going to let you know. And I think it's been like that forever. Honestly, like, if you look back, one movie I love from my childhood is the Super Mario Brother movie, because I love Super Mario Brothers. But that is not Super Mario Brothers, the Bob Hoskins one. That's not Super Mario Brothers at all. But that's just one example. That's how movies work. Movies never took the franchises you loved and did well with them in like the early 90s and 80s. Like, they didn't do that. They made movies that I guess somebody wanted to make, and they just changed it all. So that's kind of been the MO of movie storytelling for an eternity. And then Marvel came, and that all kind of changed when Marvel came in the picture, because all of a sudden they were staying true to, I mean, you know, they made changes obviously, but they stayed really true to the source material. And all of a sudden fans are like, oh, you can do that. And like, because if you think, there were no franchises like that ever. Star Wars was 6 movies, and it was 2 separate trilogies, basically, right? This trilogy, that trilogy. But Marvel was like, this is one long story that's never going to end. So it's like this new era of storytelling that we haven't explored before. And Star Wars is coming in when they've already kind of like been in it halfway without realizing it. And now they've gotten rid of the original voice, and you bring in new voices. And if people don't like those new voices, that's the concern. But I would say, but yes, use the old characters. Use the people use the characters that people know and love. They're in your arsenal. You've got them. go with it. Like Saw Gerrera is such a stupid thing to add, but it was such a great choice. That's a way lesser version of level of what you're talking about, but like you have characters to utilize, throw them in there.
Well, doesn't everybody have their own interpretation of these characters? Because there's a whole divide among Reylo fans and non-Reylo fans. Like Reylo fans see a connection between Ben Solo and Rey, but there are fans who are like, oh no, I think they're just cousins. So I mean, there are different interpretations of things, or more things might be going, and way characters might be acting. So everybody's gonna have their own different opinion on something. There are, like I said, Luke Skywalker was the hero, but everybody wanted to be Han Solo. Nobody wanted to be Luke Skywalker. So
sooner Thrawn's gonna come after you for that.
I know. The problem is everybody's gonna have their own interpretation, and if you want something to continue, you're gonna have different creators, because unfortunately people grow old and die. I mean, look who we've lost. We lost Carrie Fisher. We've lost James Earl Jones. We've lost Peter Mayhew. I mean, Baker. We've lost a lot of people, and you know, if you want stories to continue, they can't all be from George Lucas. And he sold it anyway.
Yeah, I think people have to get over George Lucas, because Heidi, you definitely remember the prequels. Like, it wasn't a pretty time for Star Wars fans. And like, I was someone who loved the prequels, and I was surrounded by a lot of friends who did too. But when you went out there and people talked about them, they weren't talking glowingly about the prequels. It took a good 25 years for people to come around and be like, oh yeah, actually they're pretty good. They're pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason people had the problem with the prequels is because the original cast wasn't in it. These were a whole bunch of new characters, and there was the only connection was Palpatine. So we're just kind of like, these people are just thrown in there, and
it was barely a connection.
I mean, and to be honest with you, the 9-year-old and the 14-year-old eventually, I don't know, the whole thing was kind of like weird to me. I wish he hadn't been 9. I wish they'd both been 14 or something.
Oh, Anakin and
yeah, that was just weird. Because they were supposed to be the great love story, and here you got her and this 9-year-old kid. It's like, what the heck? That just kind of ruined the whole thing for me, to be honest with you.
You're not alone. There was a lot of critical remarks to that effect also. Like, people were weirded out by that. I think over time, when you see how it kind of they age out and stuff like that, it changes. But yeah, that was the feeling. People forget that, though. We have like this like they forgot about it. You know, recency bias, where the prequels were always these beloved works of art, but they weren't. They were like heavily criticized. There was I don't know if you remember this. I think there was a CNN reporter at the time who, when Attack of the Clones came out, wasn't invited to the premiere because she said that The Phantom Menace was a failure. They were like, screw you, you're not coming to this premiere. People did not like the prequels, and everyone forgets about it.
Well, I remember, I think it was like 2014 when people were buzzed because the new Star Wars was coming out. I mean, Robot Chicken did a whole thing about the Robot Chicken nerd was worried that it was going to be as bad as the prequels. In fact, like I said, The Big Bang Theory, they did an episode where they go to watch the Force Awakens, and they take Will Wheaton along with them, and shows up in a Spock costume. He's like, just remember, this is the same franchise that brought you Jar Jar Binks. So yeah, until The Force Awakens came out, people pretty much hated the prequels. And you can go on YouTube, there's videos about people uploading stories about what they would have done differently. I mean, I could look at the prequels and think what I would have done differently.
I'll tell you what I would have done differently. Made Jar Jar Binks the hero. I know there's a lot of, look, I love those movies, and I'm like, I feel like the Darth Vader turn should have happened in Attack of the Clones, and like, you should have heard the name Darth Vader in Attack of the Clones, or maybe you shouldn't have. That's a harsh phrase. You know what? I love those movies. I want to rewatch them. Actually, I might watch Attack of the Clones. I love Attack of the Clones. It's the one that's grown on me more than any of the, I guess, not 10 movies. Attack of the Clones is. I'm like, this movie gets better with age. Suck it, nerds.
See, in my opinion, he did turn to Darth Vader in Attack of the Clones.
I thought you were going to say the second Never-Ending Story.
Oh, is it? That's the third one.
The second one's with the wishes.
I kind of wish you would whisper. Yeah, that's right. I kind of wish we heard the name Darth Vader in the second one, and there was whispers of like a Jedi, someone hunting the Jedi named Darth Vader or something. I don't know. This is on the. I don't know. I haven't fleshed this idea out. I don't. This is a what if story for another day. Let's talk. Yeah,
I was just gonna say, just real quick, the thing the prequels didn't have was a shocking twist.
Which I honestly, Darth Vader, I am your father, ruined Star Wars. Can we say that I am your father?
All things in the prequels led to that moment, so therefore the prequels were terrible.
Right,
no, it's not the act like that he is his father. It's the twist that he is his father. It ruins Star Wars because now it's always like, what's the twist? I don't need a stupid twist. I need a good story. The twist works because the story up until that part is awesome. And like if you watch the movie, right, it's all Yoda and Luke are together. That movie is crazy how it's the most beloved of all the movies. And the heroes are rarely together in that movie, if at all. The very beginning, for like a second, Luke's injured. Like they're barely together. They're separate for the whole thing. And Luke is with Yoda, right? And all he talks about is Vader. You hear Vader, the Force, Vader, the Force, Vader, the Force. And it all culminates in this moment where he finally faces him. Yoda says, don't do it. He faces him. And then he's like, I'm your dad, bro. Man, if they were like that, it'd be better. But he's like, I'm your dad, bro. And Luke's like, nah. And that changes everything. But now, every time we watch a Star Wars movie, everyone's like, what's the twist? Who's Kylo Ren? Who's Rey? Who's Finn? Who's Poe? It's like, just chill. They're just characters right now. Not everybody needs to be everybody. But it only works when you get that moment. And I think Mystery Box kind of kills a lot of that because my problem with the Mystery Box is that they're telling you that there's a mystery without actually showing you a mystery. It's like, just don't worry about that, man. Just get to the story.
Another thing prequels did, I went into the prequels knowing that Palpatine was Darth Sidious. But like your generation, the whole generation shouldn't have known that. And at the very end of the movie, they pretty much reveal. I mean, they don't say it, but they do a close up on his face when they say, "I wonder who the master was." It's like, well, why are you doing that? Because now you ruin it for the kids, the people who haven't seen this before, who don't know that yet.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know what's funny is I remember on the Force.net way back in the day, people were debating that. They were debating whether or not he was Palpatine, and someone said it's the same actor. It's the same actor as but not in Empire Strikes Back until the 90s, right? It was in Empire Strikes Back originally. What was it? A woman with like a monkey eye or something? Isn't that what it was? And like somebody else.
It was a guy's wife, and she had a mask on. She had like googly eyes all over. I honestly thought Palpatine was going to be Rey's father. I mean, not Rey's father. Padme's father, because they're both from Naboo, but it doesn't matter.
No, I want to know what J.J. Abrams' original plan with Rey was, because remember Simon Pegg said that she was supposed to come from royalty. I just want to know. I want to know for one reason, and that is, did he actually have an idea, or did he just BS his way into? Like, because my biggest problem with the sequels for all the characters
would have been Obi-Wan and Satine's.
Like J.J. Abrams,
that would have been
like J.J. Abrams, know who Satine was. Scotty, come on, let's go.
True. I'm just saying.
He had no idea. No. I mean, I think she was going to be a Kenobi in his eyes. But my least favorite thing of all the sequels, of the characters in the sequels, is Snoke. Just because we got nothing. I mean, I guess they're like, he's just a clone thing. But like leading into it, and fans are like, you don't need to know because you don't know who the Emperor is. But yes, you do, because when the Emperor shows up, there's years of Star Wars knowledge. And when Snoke shows up, there's 40 plus years or 40 years of Star Wars knowledge and 6 movies beforehand. Like we need to if he's old and he's been around, you have to tell us how he's been around. You can't just be like, no, you need to know. But I do, because I've seen 6 movies and he's never been mentioned. Why has he never been mentioned? And I just felt like they got very lazy with that. They're like, no, people are going to love him. And we did. Those Snoke theories were the most fun things you could do for those couple years in between movies, right? I was making the stupid Snoke theories. It was so much fun talking about who is Snoke. We talked about this. Yeah, it was so much fun. But then he just dies. And I loved his death in Last Jedi. I'm like, yeah, that's what you do. You kill him. But I still need to know why he was around Ben Solo when Leia was pregnant. Like, who is this guy? Where does he come? Right. And I still don't think, I know he's in the comic and stuff, but this is something they need to flesh.
They don't really explore that much. Yeah.
No. Yeah. So it's that was disappointing. What?
Jude Law.
Jude Law is Snoke.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think they fumbled with Snoke a lot. Like they could have put Palpatine's essence into a much healthier body, and he could have been a formidable Sith again, at least for a little bit. Like that would have been really cool. But I digress. Our conversations always go back to Snoke.
I mean,
okay, let's go back to that's how powerful he was. Snoke actually might be the best character in Star Wars as we keep going back to him.
Possible.
All right, guys, let's talk about if Star Wars is too safe. How about that? You guys want to talk about if it's safe?
Yeah,
because today, so Empire did their article this week, and it's got some pictures and fun, and I read it. We're going to talk more about it on the podcast on 341, I think it is this week on Wednesday night. We'll be doing it live. Stop by, guys, if you want. But I want to talk about it because they brought, like 8 years ago, they had the Star Wars show. I think it might have been 7 years ago. They did the Star Wars show. I don't know if you guys remember that on YouTube. They did the Star Wars show, and there were 2 hosts. Andy Gutierrez and Anthony Carbone were the 2 hosts, and he had this thing going for a while, a few episodes where he's like hashtag bring back Teak, and he kept saying hashtag bring back Teak, and Brock was a big fan of Teak, who was from the Ewok movie, and so we made a T-shirt on TeePublic that said hashtag bring back Teak, and I think Brock wore it to Star Wars Celebration when he met him, and it was a good moment that they had, and they shared and they bonded. Not really, but so we have that. So we've been joking about Teak for a while, and then we just stopped because it's been like, a decade almost. And now he's coming back. They're bringing back Teak in Skeleton Crew. And there's some other creatures in there from like other old forgotten Star Wars stuff. And I was thinking, like, I'm really excited for this show. I did a video that nobody is even talking about it because we just mentioned this earlier. Nobody is talking about the show. The only thing I see people talking about this show is how nobody is talking about this show. Like, nobody is actually talking about the show. They're talking about, like, I haven't heard any buzz from Skeleton Crew. Or it's like, what is Skeleton Crew? Why are they doing this? This doesn't make any, like, there's no real buzz for this show. And I don't think Lucasfilm or Disney has helped out with their marketing. I feel like, it might be ramping up now because we're a month and a bit away, but there's been nothing there. And I'm like, come on, man, give us something. I thought the trailer was great. But then, like I said, you see Teak and these other things that are coming in, and they bring back Phil Tippett to bring like the creations to life, and he did the originals. You're like, okay, this is great. It looks old and school. But then I thought, are they playing it safe? Like, is Disney Star Wars just playing it safe now? Like, and obviously Acolyte is too close to, so I'm not going to mention Acolyte in this because it's too close to Skeleton Crew's release, but if you look at what happened with the chat's favorite movie, The Last Jedi, that fan backlash and divide, because it kind of went trying to subvert expectations, quote unquote. And then but then Mandalorian crushed it. The first season, maybe first 2 seasons, Luke Skywalker, everything like that. Is Star Wars, is Lucasfilm just scared now to deviate, to do anything new and unique? And they're just doing what Disney first did when they bought it, when they had that hit of a Force Awakens, remember? Because Force Awakens brought it all back to the original trilogy. We're using puppets again. We're doing this. No green screens. We're doing this again. We're doing that again. Everything's on location, blah, blah, like all that. And they wanted you to forget the prequels because of that era we were in, which is kind of what we're in now, just like in a condensed timing period of it. So are they playing it? Scotty, I'll start with you, then Heidi. Are they playing it safe? And are they going to continue to play it safe in your mind?
I think the only thing that they're truly like thinking a lot about right now is the Rey stuff and the future of like the actual sacred timeline. I know I keep calling it that, but as far as playing it safe, I'm not sure because they are giving us this variety, you know. Dave Filoni is going to be doing the sweaty Star Wars stuff over there for those like people looking for the lore, the people that are looking for the connective tissue within all of this. And then some of the other things that we're getting coming up are, you know, I hope it all connects in the long run, but I don't necessarily think that it's all going to necessarily need to mesh together with what Ahsoka is doing and what Rey's future is and those kind of things. So, but time will tell. And I hope that they do have multiple timelines that we're invested in, like multiple, you know, I hope that they fast track some High Republic and fast track some Old Republic, but at least tell us what is next or what is coming, because I feel like there are fans that like the divide is because you are either you favorite this era or you don't like this era at all. So if you have stuff going on in each era that people can like latch onto, I think that's what they're building towards. I don't know.
I mean, the fact that the show is around a bunch of kids, I think that's taking a big risk there. I think what they're playing safe is marketing. It's like they're afraid to market or something. I don't know. Or maybe they've got so many surprises planned. Like, I know we were talking about this beforehand, but we haven't even seen the lightsaber yet. And you're speculating. You have your speculation. My speculation is it's going to turn out to be red, and he's like a dark Jedi or a former Inquisitor.
Well, what's the rumors around his character? Like, have they confirmed he is a Jedi? They've just said he's a different type of Jedi. Is that like the exact wording? They said he's a different type.
Yeah, they said he's a different type. Yeah, they haven't really given us much information. I like the idea of a dark Jedi, but because he's a new type of Jedi, that's why I'm not. We're gonna do an odd on that on Thursday. But yeah, I just Baylan and Shin to me were two of the most entertaining characters we've gotten in new Star Wars and the new Disney era Star Wars.
Well, there's already a term. I mean, there's already a term that we've been using for these people. They're Boken Jedi. They're self-trained. It's like what Ezra did for himself when he was out on his own. He's able to use like the Force as his combat. Doesn't need a lightsaber, so he trained himself in that way. What's his name? Baylan Skoll even brings this up. So I think that this is just kind of bait, and that Jude Law's character is just going to be another one of these Jedis that trained himself in a way that he was able to hide from the Empire, and you know, maybe he can do some crazy stuff we've never seen Jedi do. But yeah, I hope that's kind of what they do when they mean when they say new Jedi.
Well, maybe he has an orange lightsaber, and because did we ever get an explanation of the reddish orange lightsaber? I know I'm talking about in canon. I'm not talking about
yeah, the most we ever got was Dave's vague description of them being an off color for a reason. But
I mean, because when the original trilogy came out, I'm sorry. No, I thought the reason was because the original trilogy came out, they originally appeared orange on screen, and when they did the special editions, they fixed the color. So I think that was a tribute to that or something. But I know that's the reason, but I just didn't know if there was ever going to be a canon reason for why they're orange.
If there is, we'll probably never get it because they don't like to tell us anything. They're really, I mean, I'm sure there is. I don't know, because they're not like. Are they going to do something where they say, "Well, they're not Sith, so the crystal doesn't bleed red; they're just dark Jedi, so it bleeds orange"? I feel like that's the road we're going down with that explanation. You know, some things also, I will say. Let me know if you disagree. You can. But some things are better left to the imagination and unsaid, I think.
Agreed. Yeah.
I know, but they're the ones who made this thing that colors mean something.
Yeah.
The other thing too, I actually think it is playing it safe casting kids, because you know I do subscribe to the fact that Star Wars is for kids. The characters now aren't necessarily resonating with everybody who's an adult. But again, if it's an enjoyable story and my kids like it, I'm okay with that. I'll wait for the Ahsoka stuff for like my really sweaty, George Lucas content, because I know that comes mainly from Dave Filoni.
But like my feeling about it is I'm hoping it's good, but a part of me is like I'm not sure I want to see a show about a bunch of kids in space. So
They seem funny enough. I've seen clips of them
right
together. So
I just don't want to see Romper Room in space.
Yeah, but I mean, has everyone?
But I think we're getting Goonies in space. I think we're getting Goonies.
But has everyone forgotten like the Phantom Menace and also like A New Hope? They're only 19. They're what, like 5 years older than these kids? It's not that. I don't have a problem with the age of this because it's not. I think Goof or Ron, somebody brought up earlier where they say nobody likes the kid sidekicks in movies. And I agree. One of my favorite movies is Sleepy Hollow, and there's a kid in there. I'm like, you just put that kid in there. And like, if you remember back then, they would do, there's always a kid. Planet of the Apes had a kid, Jurassic Park 3 had a kid. All these movies come out and they throw like these kids in the first Jurassic Park 2, but they throw these kids in, and the second one. They throw these kids in these things because they forces danger. But I don't think that's the case with this show. I think they are kids on an adventure, and I think it's going to be fun. Like, you don't watch. I mean, people watch it. It's about a bunch of kids.
Mm-hmm.
I think we forget. Like, I don't think the kids is a negative to this one. I think it's Phantom Menace. Some people don't like it though, but Phantom Menace is about a kid, and then the original movies are about 19-year-old twins that don't know they're twins and they make out.
And I think these kids are kind of capable. Like the school they're going to, I think, is like how to be pilots or how to like operate ships and stuff. They each have like their own little like thing they're good at. I feel like
when I was in grade 1 or first grade, as you guys say down there, I was on this movie called The Flight of the Navigator came out.
Love that
and
movie.
it released on like a Sunday night Disney, whatever that was called, Disney night or whatever. And the next day, and I watched it and I was like, that was awesome. And the next day, everybody in my class was talking about this movie, Flight of the Navigator. How old are you in grade 1? 9, 8, 7, 7, 8, 9? I'll find out in a few years. So however old you are, I was a kid, and it just sparked this imagination of not just me, but I'm telling you, the entire classroom of like 20, 30 kids, whatever it was enamored with this movie about a boy who stumbled into a spaceship, which is this movie also. Like their skeleton crew is also kind of that. They stumble on this spaceship, right? And I just think like, okay, it might be for kids, but also it might be for everybody. It might have some darkness to it because those 80s movies, how do you remember? They're grittier than kids shows today. And if they're doing that, I think it could be for everybody to watch. I think it will be skewed more for kids. So yeah, adults might not be, I'm a child, so but like adults might not be so invested into it. But you got to get the kids back into Star Wars because kids don't give an ass about Star Wars right now. They're just like, it's not in the forefront of their mind. It's like, where's Star Wars? Whatever. I don't care about Star Wars.
Well,
so I think.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Go ahead. No, I was going to say because Temple of Doom was the reason why they came up with a PG-13 rating in the first place because of how violent it was. And
that movie gave me nightmares.
Well, that's also, even though I know like it's a better movie than Crystal Skull, I think Temple of Doom is my least favorite because I don't like how dark it is, and I don't like kids being whipped, and I don't like so it just bothers me the whole thing.
The Temple of Doom is my Last Jedi of the Indiana Jones films. It's my favorite,
First time
and everybody hates it.
Everyone hates it. I remember I was a huge Indiana Jones fan as a kid, and when it first came out on like video or whatever, I was like 5 or something. My dad's like, we're gonna watch Indiana Jones. He goes, if you get scared, cover your eyes. I'm like, why would I get scared? I'm like, rip it. I was so excited about the ripping out hearts and stuff as a kid. I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever. He also made me watch Die Hard and Jaws when I was like 10. So it's this is the 80s. Things were different back then.
Another thing is Kate Capshaw. I couldn't stand her character, and I was disappointed she didn't get dumped into the lava because that was the worst ever. I didn't get her. She was horrible.
Shout out to Goof. The brave little toaster is the best. No debate there from us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that is an underrated gem of a
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, every time. They made a sequel, I think, too, but I don't think it was as good. I can't. Brave Little Toaster is just
Did
the best.
Did you guys see Caravans of Curds movies?
Yes.
I didn't, because I was 12
Yeah.
and it looked silly to me.
Mhm.
That's what I'm worried about. Is people are gonna look at this, and I mean, I don't own any stock in Disney. It doesn't affect me, but there's going to be like 15-year-olds and 17-year-olds who would normally like want to see Star Wars who might look at this and say, I don't want to see Caravan of Curds 3.
Well, that's the thing. You bring in Teak and stuff like that. All of a sudden, you're going down. Are you going down that path? But they brought the blurgs into Mandalorian, right? So I don't know. Like you know what, the kid thing could be a miss. I'm not going to say that it's 100% going. Like Heidi, I think you could be right. It could be too kid friendly and too much for kids, because modern kid stuff just, it doesn't have the grit that we used to have when I was growing up. And man, those were dark times. Things we watched as children back in the 80s was like insane. Versus now, it's all like, you know, I've seen like, you know, it's not Coco Melon, but I don't know how the kids are going to react. But if they're doing the Goonies, Stranger Things version of it, I don't think the kids will be a distraction. Now, if the kids can't act, or if they act like Disney junior kid actors, then there might be a problem on our hands.
Like, what was I gonna say? Oh, well, like Kenobi. I liked the story between him and the Leia, but this was a character we had already known, and we didn't know he was going to hang out with her until the episode where we go to Alderaan. So, in that sense, yeah, I did like a story with a kid sidekick, but again, it was Leia at a younger age, and this is an aspect of her we never got to see, and it was not advertised.
Yeah. Kenobi sold on his own. I wonder how much screen time Jude Law is going to get in. Is it his show or is it the kids show? Like, is it the kids show and then they lead us to Judd Nana Wood and it becomes his show after that? I'm curious how they're going to play that dynamic, because it's going to be him and the kids. I'm hoping it's like Tailspin, but it's about him and the kids. So I'm just thinking, like, how much.
Okay, are the kids Padawans?
No.
I do have a feeling one of them will be force sensitive, though.
Okay,
and I think it's going to be the one that like is in awe of the key floating. Goes, you are a Jedi, or you're a Jedi. I feel like it'll be that kid, but no, none of them are Padawans. They're just normal everyday kids that go to school, and they fall into the Flight of the Navigator ship. I think this movie, everyone's like, I think they say Goonies, but I'm thinking Flight of the Navigator and that movie. I don't know if you remember The Explorers with Ethan Hawke and River Phoenix and somebody else. And that is the movie that I'm thinking that this show is going to be more like, is because they build a spaceship, they go into space. Like, there's a whole thing there. So that's what I think this is more. This would be a stupid fun twist if it became the magic school bus in Star Wars. That would be pretty funny.
Dude, yes, and they fly inside the Metachlorians, and they're like, "This is the powerhouse of the cell," and that'd be hilarious.
No, it'd be funny is if they do this whole rigmarole over Jude Law, like they did with Max von Sydow being in Force Awakens, and they kill him in the first 5 minutes.
There's another character in those movies. It's like, who is that character? Who is that guy? Who is Lor San Tekka? Really? Who's Lor San Tekka? I've seen, like, again, you watch 6 movies and it's like he's bringing his thing to an old friend.
I know who he is, but I read comics, so
no. But I mean, when you watch before the comics, when you just watch The Force Awakens, he's bringing his old friend has the map or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, what friend is he going to from the movies I know?
Yes.
No, it's this other guy. I'm like, and then like never mentioned ever. I mean, I'm talking about movies only, right? Never mentioned again. And you're like, why don't you just pick somebody we've seen? Just call Wedge. I know you didn't want. Just call Wedge and be like, we need you in this scene. Here's $4 million, Wedge. $4 million. You're this guy, and you're going to get killed off, so you never have to come back. I don't know. Just doesn't really bother me, but you're making me heated now. Skeleton Crew is going to be the best thing we've ever done.
And he's driving the school bus that leads to the path. That would be cool if he's a Jedi on the path or helping other. Because if you think about it this way, like the Jedi need allies that are not force sensitive to help the path, correct? Like this guy could just, these could just be more kids that he's helping who are lost. And then we find out like that's his whole shtick is like, I'm a Jedi who helps younglings find safety.
What if he's more like the fox from Pinocchio? He's bringing them to Pleasure Island.
Man. Turn them on to Rancors.
I think he's going to be more like a Han Solo who doesn't want to be a hero but doesn't have a choice in the end.
Yeah, that's I'm with you too. And I think at the end you remember in the first episode of Rebels how Kanan's a Jedi the whole time and you don't know, and then he ignites his lightsaber and you're like, oh, I think it's going to be like that. We're not going to find out anything about his lightsaber until the end of like the first episode. Like he won't ignite that thing for a while.
Maybe he'll be like the guy from I forget what's his name, Haji.
Oh yeah, he was like a phony.
Oh, the fake one,
phony guy. Yeah.
Yep. I like that
Just
idea. I really like that idea. I know that got some hate.
I do too.
I
would do that.
Cool.
I love
Absolutely. How much fun
if I
would
convinced 2 people that I was a Jedi, hell yes.
Imagine in Outlaws if you could trick people into thinking you were a Jedi. I haven't played the game, but like in the game, like a video game where you're not a Jedi, but you're like, I'm gonna pretend to be a Jedi, and you have to like I don't make video games either, so I'm gonna leave it at that. Ron right here saying, just remember the force sensitive kid and skeleton crew will probably eventually be let down by Luke Skywalker and murdered by Ben.
Yes. Yeah, I told you, man. They're just adding Jedi to the list. Like, how many people got to be inside there? Wait till Grogu goes in, bro. Like,
I remember the Ahsoka where
never forget.
Like, hey, Mom, I'm gonna be trained as a Jedi. I'm like, no, you don't.
That's funny.
Oh, James, are you frozen?
He is.
Let's go.
Yeah, don't get attached to anybody. And I do actually worry about like kid characters because they could, not all make it. I don't know. That's not out of the realm of possibility, I don't think, with Star Wars. To pull at the heartstrings.
Yeah.
But we may have lost James. No, there he is. He's back.
Don't
worry, we carried.
I mean, this is a franchise that slaughtered a bunch of children at the end of Revenge of the Sith.
Mm-hmm.
Killed a bunch of younglings, and then of course in Kenobi, he just straight up snapped some 10-year-old kid's neck. Run out to check on his dad. And Vader just grabbed this kid with the force of snap the neck. I don't know. So they've killed kids in Star Wars before.
Yep.
And they probably will continue to.
No, I was just going to touch on.
I can't.
Oh, what are you going to say? I'm sorry.
You're still here, James? Go ahead.
Yeah,
man.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. You're good.
I was going to say, I can't. This is the only chat that's showing up on my stream feed right now. Is that's a logical conclusion? I wanted to put up. Don't forget the most powerful Jedi, Broom Boy.
Oh yes. Classic.
But I can't because my Google Chrome crashed on me. That's where I was. So sorry, guys. Sorry, Scotty. Continue.
Nope. I was just gonna say because some people in chat were talking about the diversity, and I think the kids that were cast were a pretty diverse cast, somewhat, and I think that's only going to continue because if they explore these other eras, like in the comics, they're very diverse. The High Republic is very diverse. I think even the sequels are pretty diverse as far as that goes. I think there's still hope for John Boyega with a lit lightsaber, fully force sensitive on screen. I think
I don't
that's
know how he couldn't be in the Rey movie is beyond me.
Yeah, same.
Beyond me. Like just beyond. I know Heidi's thinking. Yep. Well, Ben Solo should be in the Rey movie.
Well, that's what Force Ghosts are for. But
not in the sequels.
I'm just thinking that if one of the kids is Force sensitive, it's the one who's gonna be like, oh, I don't believe in the Force. There's no such thing. Blah blah blah. Of course, he's hiding Force sensitive the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. What Rey movie?
We'll
believe it when I
right
see
now
it.
he's not. He's not wrong right now. I'll say
Yep.
this: I think there's this weird obsession with diversity and what and all that right now, where it's just like, geez, just like if the story's good, I think what's been proven time and time again is if if the story is good, the audience doesn't give two pieces of poop about the diversity and inclusion and this and that. And case in point is Andor, right? There's the lesbian couple in Andor. Nobody cares. The Penguin show right now, I think I saw a couple comments, but Sophia Falcone took over an episode and it rocked and nobody cared. Like, it's just like, you do it well, you do it right, and nobody's gonna harp on it. It's when it feels like you're being hit. It's, you know what it is? It's pandering and patronizing. That's what it is. It's when you're doing that, that's when the audience takes a step back and says, I don't, like, you don't believe what you're seeing. But for some reason, social media has, like, there's a group of patronizing is like, that's good, that's what it should be. And it's like, have you not forgotten? Like, show like a natural story and nobody will care the gender, the race, anything about your characters. They just won't. I mean, look, I shouldn't say nobody will, because there is a lot of hateful dicks out there, but you know what I mean. The majority of people, you show a good story, they're going to be in it for that story, and it's not going to matter who you cast or this. As long as everybody plays their part and does it well, everyone's going to be along for that ride, and they're going to enjoy it, because a good story trumps everything.
Yeah, well, you can't pander and patronize at the same time, and I feel like sometimes fans take a little bit too much offense to a joke. So, I mean, where do you draw the line between like telling a joke and coming off as patronizing? But it's like, we also, you know, there's a really good, I think it's even Vince Vaughn recently talking about it it might even have been Hot Ones, but Vince Vaughn's talking about how Hollywood's afraid to make these movies that are going to make people think and that kind of stuff. And it's like, when the fans and the audience react so radically, almost have like these radical opinions about what Hollywood is doing, that's going to prevent getting away from the stuff that you call an agenda, because you act so aggressively towards stuff that's just different. Like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of fans, they get the thing that they don't expect to happen and then think that's a bad thing. But if we keep getting the stuff that we expect to happen over and over again, where's the surprise? Like, so you have to kind of draw that line with like the pandering. I understand that, but you're going to get that no matter what studio you watch. If you watch Lucasfilm, Disney, or you watch Lionsgate, like, I feel like it's only as big of an issue because these studios are so big and they're pushing so much of the content that everyone is like, wow, they're pushing a lot of the same type of content. It's like, yeah, because you're watching all this content from one studio. Like, go watch some other content. You might see another agenda being pushed. I don't know. It's Hollywood. You hear it from everybody. You hear it from the actors. So,
but like the end of Rise of Skywalker, I said this the last time, these two women make out. We don't know anything about these characters. No heterosexual couples make out. We're just to throw this in there. And it's just, you're just doing it for an agenda. And it's like, that's not interesting to me. Why are you doing this? It takes me out of the story. I'm like, you're just trying to please a group of people who are watching this so they don't get on your case anymore. If you were going to have two women make out, then you should have the women from Andor make out because they were an actual couple. When I was 8 years old and Empire Strikes Back came out, I'm not going to say I didn't notice Billy D. Williams was African American. I didn't notice. Obviously, I did notice, but I also didn't think that's the reason why he was hired. I think, he was the best person from that part. They wanted a smooth talking, charming man, and that was Billy D. Williams. Now, maybe that character was adjusted for him because they wanted him in that movie, but he was still a good written character. So you can do it if you do it well and it makes sense of the story. But don't just stick something in there that doesn't make any sense out of left field just because you want to please someone or make a statement. Because it's just going to take you out of the theater. And sometimes I think they just want to make people mad. with this stuff. They want to make
Yeah.
some group happy while making one group mad at the same time. And it's like, if you want to do that, then let it make sense of the story.
Yeah, no, that's agreed. Billy D. Williams, the suave ladies' man smuggler.
Smooth man of the galaxy.
How do we get on? The chat brought us there. Thanks, chat.
Yeah, that was
getting us all
and your
political
internet went
now.
down at the same time, so you know
Yeah.
you can blame the provider.
What provider? It's I have a hamster
It was
on
the perfect storm.
wheel.
It
That's
was
how
the
it-
perfect storm.
I just want.
No,
But
I
a
was
Star
gonna
Wars play
say-
safe, man.
Sorry, I was just gonna say I just want Urkel's character to just once say, "Did I do that?" Other than that.
Oh man, I think they'll stay far away from that line.
I prefer Stefan.
But yeah, Stefan.
Stefan
I think Star Wars is in a tough spot. Like, do they play it safe? You could say yes, but then you can also argue that they haven't played it safe. So, what is playing it safe? Is it just bring in characters that you know? Because the way I always feel is if you have a character that exists within your canon, and that character makes sense. Like I mentioned, Saw Gerrera earlier. If you have Saw Gerrera that fits the need of something of a part in what you're creating, use that character. So, I do think they're starting to play it safe. I think Acolyte is going to be the one that the final straw, the final nail in the coffin, if you will. And I think they're going to revert to. We're going to get a ton more Mando stuff, probably. But I honestly think Last Jedi and Acolyte have really spooked. And Scotty, as you said weeks ago, they are very reactionary over there. They are very reactionary, and that's not always a good thing. Because you know what? Sometimes you swing and you miss. You swing and you miss, and you know what you do? You don't get pulled for a game. Well, maybe if you play for the Jays, but you don't get pulled for a game. But what you do is you readjust your stance and you swing again. And that's what they need to do. They need to readjust their stance. Because I think Chimera, like you said, Heidi, the Stranger and the
Choke up a little
Acolyte.
bit.
Yeah, choke up a little. Chimera and the Stranger is a great character. Let's get more. Let's see some more Plagueis. Let's see some more of what's going on. And don't just because Acolyte stumbled doesn't mean everything in there was a mistake. Choke up on your bat, fix your stance, swing again. Because maybe this time, it's just gonna be a fastball and you can hit this one out of the park.
I just feel like fans and Disney are like in some weird abusive what's the word?
An abusive relationship.
Yeah, but what's the one where the abusee, what are they doing that's
Enabling.
Yeah, I feel like Disney isn't and fans are in this abusive and enabling relationship. And it's like Disney does something, the fans hate it, so they smack them back, and then they get scared, and then when they get brave, they try to move forward, and then Disney just keeps, they just keep smacking Disney back or whatever. It's just it feels like every time Disney gets the nerve to do something different or try something different, there's a lot of backlash, and they get scared again, and I think it pulls away from it's like a catch-22 because the more Disney tries to do something different or innovative, the more the fans get upset. So then Disney gets scared, and then the fans complain that it's boring. And it's just, it's like the cycle. It's like sometimes I feel like Lucasfilm Disney tries to be different, and they'll go against the fans, and then there's a lot of backlash, and then nope, let's move on to something else now.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? I why are you saying that? I was thinking, you know what if The Last Jedi happened, but Disney had handled Star Wars for a longer period of time? Would the handling of Luke and whatever else, well, the milk and the cow still probably should have been cut. Can we just be real for a second? They should have cut the cow milking. Like, that was stupid. But I'm wondering if they would have had Star Wars for longer and earned the trust of the Star Wars fandom a little bit more, if some decisions made would be accepted more, because you're like, okay, they know what they're doing. But they did it like third movie and second one in the trilogy, and it didn't subvert expectations because Brock predicted it a year out. I'll never forget that stupid podcast where Brock's like, "What if Luke's crazy on the island and he wants nothing to do with Rey?" And I'm like, "You son of a gun! You've ruined the whole movie for me." But it's yeah, I don't know. I think Disney, Lucasfilm have to regain the trust of fans. They've lost a huge chunk of them that are never going to come back because social media, you believe your own.
They'll come back. I think Old Republic's going to bring a lot of people back. There's specific eras of Star Wars that can bring people back.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of directors that have not touched Star Wars yet. Do we think for the next 15, 20 years they're going to keep using the same directors? No. They are listening. They are listening. I've said this. There are shows they're taking chances with still. Yes. But a lot of this is like certain projects are made for propaganda. Certain projects are made for profit. They know that Ahsoka and that kind of stuff can be like their profit, like go-to views coming up in the future. They're still going to take chances. They still have to tell new stories. And, Skeleton Crew, I think, is a perfect example of like leaning back into the kids' storytelling and following these kids. We might follow them grow up. We might see them long term. Who knows? But I just stay hopeful as a Star Wars fan. I don't try to like say that I don't want them to try stuff because that would just, I don't want them to stop making story. I want them to keep taking risks.
And that's why I think, yeah, go on.
If they're not failing, they're not trying, right? So if they're not trying to do stuff outside of the norm, outside of the expected, we're just going to get a repeat copy pasta of the Luke story or, I don't want another typical coming of age hero's journey. Like we've seen that a bunch of times. Like you could even start at the end of a Jedi's, in the middle of the peak of their power and start there and do flashbacks and other kind of stuff. But I don't know. I feel like they tried to do that with The Force Awakens, but pick up with Rey at like an older age. But I don't know. Keep taking risks. That's what I say.
I think that's why the Rey movie can work. You have Rey. I know everybody hates Rey now. I didn't realize how hated Rey was until recently. Like people despise Rey. I'm like, she's the worst Rey.
I think
character. That she goes nowhere eventually.
I think that the reason they dislike the character is because of what you just said. They expected huge things from this character because there was a big setup. There was a big okay, this character could be really cool. And then they didn't really do what a lot of people expected them to do. So, and then they didn't know what they wanted to do either. So,
but that's the biggest problem is you need to plan these things out. And that's why I did a video a little while ago. Like,
and that's what I'm saying. Like, they don't want to risk anything around that timeline. They're not trying to take any risks around that timeline.
No, and I don't think they're going to touch the sequels. I think honestly, Ron's like, I don't think the Mandoverse leads to the sequels anymore. I think it's gonna have little pieces of the sequels in there because it exists in the storyline and like the timeline. But I think they're going in a different direction. I think they're going to stay away from that part of the galaxy. They're not going to worry about any of that in their Mando stuff, and they're going to go there. So that's where I think it is. But I also that's why I think the Rey movie can work so easily. Is you have an established character who is now you've made her a Palpatine, which I know people like to scoff at that, but if you think about it, Fantasia after The Force Awakens, Andrew Fantasia's like, I think she's a Palpatine, and I was like, I hate that idea. She ended up being a Palpatine. And when she ended up being a Palpatine, you know what he said? He goes, I hate it. He goes, because she should have dealt with the darkness of being a Palpatine, of being Sheeva P's granddaughter. Like she should have had to deal with that. But now we have an opportunity to have a character who has that in her DNA. Like she is a descendant of the most evil person in the galaxy, possibly forever. There's a darkness within her, and her new era now is to guide these kids into doing something, and you don't know how conflicted she is. She's also the daughter of a clone. Like there's a lot going on with that character that you can make very, very compelling in her movie.
Man.
There's a lot going on. Like look, in the movies, they failed. I think we can all agree they failed in the movies at developing her character great. They also failed at Finn. They failed at actually Poe got an arc. they pretty much failed that Finn and Rey were failed, in my opinion. Like, Finn was my favorite after Force Awakens, and then his character just nosedive to, like, why are you in these movies? By the third one, all he does is yell Rey. Like, that is all he does is yell Rey's name in the third movie. You're like, give him some dialogue. Dude can act. But I think the Rey movie, it could be really good. I don't think it's going to happen, but it could be really good because you have a character who is like has so much darkness within her. There's so many opportunities, and then you can have new characters, and those can be the future of Star Wars there. But again, just like Skeleton Crew, Scott, your fear with it is this is just going to be the Bad Batch, where it's like, what's the point of this in the end? Like, it's just like this story. It's a fun little side quest, but what is the point? That's the problem with Star Wars now, because fans aren't into that anymore. Fans want a big overarching story that they can follow, and everything connects, and this is that, and we all want to see the clues of what's going on here. And Star Wars just hasn't gotten their crap together with that, and that is what's frustrating fans the most.
I just saw something the other day that bothers me about Rise of Skywalker. The Last Jedi ends with Luke saying to Ben Solo, "The Resistance is no more, and the new rebellion is born today." So it sounds like this epic new rebellion is forming. And then we get to the next movie, and it's like, oh, whatever. We've solved it. Bye.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know what you guys think, but how were you in the meetings for these movies and nobody red flagged these? Like, no one was like, especially with Mark Skywalker, with Mark Hamill saying, like, at the end of The Force Awakens, I had rocks floating around me, and I was this all-powerful Jedi. And in The Last Jedi, I had no powers. And they talk about that. Like, there was not one person at Lucasfilm was like, hey, this is conflicting. Like, I think back to, but even like before all this, there's is it Clone Wars or Rebels? Where there's a Sam Witwer interview, I think on a podcast, where he talks about they wrote something wrong and he had to correct them. Like, they had like characters in the wrong place, and he was like, actually. So I don't know what I think. The galaxy is large. The other problem is people are obsessed with Star Wars. And you can't please obsession. You can't please obsession. And you're never going to get there. Because when somebody knows more about the lore than you do, either hire them or start from scratch, because you're only going to piss them off.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to tell everybody what they know about it. So, yeah, I don't know.
It's kind of like that old Saturday Night Live Get a Life sketch with, I don't know if you saw it, with William Shatner, where they spoof a Star Trek convention. And he ends up yelling at the fans, "Get a life," because they're asking him questions like, "Oh, I have a bet going in episode 35. What was the combination of your safe?" He's like, "I don't remember." So it's like that. It's like the point. If you've never seen it, I would highly recommend it. Just Google William Shatner and Get a Life sketch. I don't know. But that's what you're saying about how the fans know every little bit that the stars and
the stars don't know.
Yeah, it's funny because people will go up to Harrison Ford. Are you upset that George Lucas redid that Greedo shoots first? He's like, I don't care. It's just a movie.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
Why would he care? Why would he care? Honestly, why? He probably doesn't even know what Greedo is. He's like, what's a Greedo? I will say at one point when there was the writer didn't know Star Wars in the Acolyte room, and people made a big deal about it. And obviously Andor had, Gilroy didn't really know. But I'm wondering maybe because I think Mando was very successful. And if we mentioned the gallery, or how do you mention the gallery a week or two ago, whenever it was, and I rewatched some of it and I was like, man, all these people here. And I've said this on like every Unleashed I've done, is like that panel of directors that they had for the Mandalorian season 1, and I'd say season 2 and 3, because it was the same basically. They all loved Star Wars, and they all loved directing that show. Like you could see that they actually enjoyed it. I mean, they're doing the show and they're all smiling and laughing, and they just love it, and the way they talk about it. And you got to get people like that in Star Wars, I think Leslie Headland was excited. Something went on with the Acolyte. I'm still convinced something went on with the Acolyte that we didn't get what was originally planned out to be. I think something happened there, I think. I could be wrong, but I feel like the Acolyte was meant to be something different. and something happened. I don't know if it was too many cooks or what, because it also took like 4 years to make. And something's off with that show. But I like, for me, I don't know about you guys, but I would honestly just get a room and I would hire all the directors of The Mandalorian and be like, you guys each get Star Wars movies. This is the next 10 years. Pick the movie you want to direct. Let's go. That's what I would do, because they love it, and they're all talented. And if you have them in your arsenal already, why are you not using them to make more movies? Like, why have I not seen a Star Wars movie in the theater for 5 years?
That part.
COVID.
Yeah, I need a movie.
Yeah.
But you're talking about how like some fans just hated Last Jedi, and they're like, oh well, Rian Johnson wasn't a real Star Wars fan. Well, I remember when I seen Last Jedi, and there's this scene where you see the ship. There's this black ship, and I'm sitting there watching. I'm like, oh, that kind of looks like the iron from Hardware Wars. Turned out really was an iron, and that was a tongue-in-cheek reference to Hardware Wars. So this guy knew what he was talking about. So you can't accuse him of not being a fan.
I think
right away.
I honestly think J.J. Abrams didn't understand Star Wars. Rian Johnson did, but to course correct J.J. Abrams not understanding it, it kind of fell on its head with a lot of fans. Like, I think if it would have started in the direction it should have, we wouldn't have got into the place we were. That's what I'll say. Because I think Rian Johnson's trilogy, which is obviously never going to happen, but I think that would have been a really good trilogy. I think it would have made 3 solid films, because he's not using characters that we know.
Right.
But yeah, but I just that's my thought. Is I think if they would have handled Star Wars from the get-go more towards like the Lucas idea, I don't think Rian Johnson was perfect. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying that. And the Last Jedi, the like I said, the milking needed to go, and a lot of the jokes fell flat in that movie. But I just think like the Luke character, where he ultimately is probably more so where he should have been. I don't know if he should have been that far deep, but that's probably more of where he like more aligned with Lucas's thinking than where J.J. Abrams had him go. I'm not saying I don't even know if I would prefer one or the other, because I haven't seen the J.J. Abrams Luke Skywalker all-powerful Jedi. That might have been amazing, but I think Rian Johnson had a better understanding of the situations of Star Wars than J.J. Abrams. I just think because of where we were, it was the wrong time to use it.
I think if he does everything the exact same way, except all of the interviews that we see where Mark Hamill is talking about how like that's not really what my Luke would have done. Like, I think if Mark Hamill had full control over the Luke character and at least how he responded to each piece of the dialogue, like throwing the lightsaber over the shoulder, that could have been handled differently. There's specific moments where Luke failed fans as far as fans are concerned, but I feel like Mark Hamill also felt let down. So if that movie goes the exact same way, except course correct all of the little things that Mark Hamill saw as red flags, I think that movie goes crazy.
Yeah, that begs the question. Oh, sorry, Heidi, go on.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna say I love The Last Jedi. My problem is, and I guess the whole thing was she was supposed to a mystery, was the Holdo character. We don't know anything about her. She just comes out of nowhere. And I know there was scenes missing. The reason why she and Leia are in evening gowns during a battle is because they just left this planet quickly because they just had one's funeral. So, I mean, but in turn, she does the most awesome thing. I might have had Admiral Akbar be in Holdo's place, like the mutiny. They're having a mutiny against Admiral Akbar, and him, instead of dying in the initial battle, have him die making the sacrifice where he launches the ship through the large Star Destroyer.
Akbar's death, I will say this, was something that I was like, it kind of ticked me off. Like it didn't infuriate me, but I was like, why would you do that? Like, why would you have a character who, just like Ki-Adi-Mundi, is popular mostly because of a meme, but you have a character who is around like from the OGs. Yeah, that's what the kids say today, right? We have a kid from Jedi that people love, has been there, and then off screen you're just gonna have him get killed. I was like, and it's just like a throwaway line. We lost Akbar. You're like, why isn't like I don't need a big moment, but why would like that? That was to me that was a weird choice. Was that and I never had a problem with Holdo, and a lot of people wanted that swap Heidi of Akbar. And why you said if Akbar made that, yeah, because he's a beloved character. If you give him that heroic ending, like the what was his name? It was Akbar was supposed to be in Rogue One, but instead they made him Bartholomew. What was his name? What was the calamari's name in Rogue One? I can't remember now. It's the name of the ship that they're on in The Last Jedi, I believe. Ignatius. What was his name? Somebody help idea. Chat, I need you to help me out with his name. I don't want to type my computer shakes. Look,
hurry.
Radis. Yes, thanks, Ron. The hater of the movie, Ron knows the answer.
All this, The Last Jedi talk is depressing. Comes up with the answer that no one else in chat has. Ron, you are the most complex person I've ever met in our chat, and please never leave.
Thanks, Ron. Radis, that's right. Radis was supposed to be Akbar. But Radis ended up being like a better character than Akbar was used in the new movies because of that. And that's annoying. But how do we always devolve into this conversation of it? I hope in like 20 years we look back and we're like, we actually said this about the movies. Those movies are great. I don't know what you're talking about.
Here's hoping, man.
I didn't dislike the Holdo character. I don't think they gave
that part.
I like Laura Dern. I was fine with that, and it did make $1 billion. Absolutely, it did. I think all three of us liked the last. Had
enough development to care about her. That's all.
No, I think you're right.
And maybe we got in that funeral scene, it would have been different.
Yeah, I wonder why they haven't made any special editions of the sequels. Because you could really there's a few things you could change in there. Like McClunky, you can add McClunky to them. I think you do a McClunky all night. I don't know what that means.
No one does. It's provocative.
No one does. Gets the crowd going.
Yes. Yeah, so the sequels, huh? Cool. Yeah.
Sequels, playing it safe.
Risky.
I do think The Last Jedi, The Fall of the Last Jedi, put a damper on, hurt the development of Star Wars within the company, because I think look, we saw it, right? J.J. Abrams mentioned the Phantom Menace in in interviews. He mentioned them, and it's like, man, I almost feel like filmmakers should stay off of social media unless you're making Sonic the Hedgehog.
He would have made a completely different movie. A completely different movie.
Yeah,
tragic.
I think you stay off of social media. But unless it's Sonic the Hedgehog, though, it's like the one time social media was correct on something was the appearance of Sonic the Hedgehog. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
Okay. I need a bigger yes. I need us to be in agreement. Okay. I just had a really amazing speech, and you guys are letting me down by being very unenthusiastic about Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the movie. I'm saying the appearance of the animal looks better after the fans went like, "What are you doing to?" Sometimes you got to let Sonic look like Sonic. There's a paraphrase. We kind of mentioned how the fans were
Sonic. I didn't watch the Sonic movie. I'm sorry.
No, but I'm just saying okay, you know what, Heidi?
Now the next one's gonna make.
Go watch Sonic. The second one was too long.
I'll watch Sonic after you watch Rebuild the Galaxy.
Yeah. We'll watch at the same time. You have to get Paramount Plus for Sonic, though.
Are we gonna do a watch party for this Lego Star Wars shit?
We should. We're gonna have to do a watch party. We'll do it.
I gotta sit down and make my kids watch it because they haven't seen it either.
Sonic?
I'm a fake fan. Rebuild the Galaxy.
I'm just saying this. Disney could learn from it.
Yeah, that's what you say. I'm gonna watch it. I promise you.
There's a reason God Purpose go on Rotten Tomatoes, and the reason why I'm pushing it all the time is because I think Disney can learn from it, from their own product.
Yeah, you said that. I just it blows my mind that we got better Finn character development in a Lego holiday special than in the movies. That's what blows my mind.
Yeah,
because I never wanted Finn to be a Jedi or Force sensitive. There are videos on this channel that if you go back eons, you can see where I'm like, I don't need him to be that, right? And I do one. There's an Unleashed. One of the first Unleashed episodes that we did, I did it with Fatty Fan Theories, and he talks about how he thought Finn was Force sensitive after The Force Awakens, and we talk about it. And I'm like, I don't need him to be Force sensitive. We have a full conversation, and he ended up being it for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
How frustrating is that? They're like, yeah, Force sensitive. Why? Because all you do is yell Ray. We need you to have a little bit more depth.
I thought the troopers were all Force sensitive children.
Is that what they did?
I thought so.
I don't know about that.
Because Jano talked about how she was Force sensitive, so that's the feeling I got. They looked for Force sensitive children. I don't know. I could be wrong, but that's the feeling I was getting. They were doing what the Jedi and the Sith were doing.
I didn't hear that. I don't remember that part.
I don't remember because I think I felt like Rebels played around with that a little bit, but I don't remember that in Rebels. I'd have to relook at it though.
Because I remember seeing where both
Rebels
Janet,
was a great show.
Yeah, but I remember seeing where both Janet and Finn were talking about how they always have this feeling. So that's the feeling I got, was that the children they were abducting to put into the First Order were actually Force sensitive beings. I don't know.
We have to look that one up. Chat, what do you guys know? Ron, you know. Ron's got all the sequel trilogy.
Ron's favorite movie. Ron
You bought the
that.
encyclopedia
I do think
hard copy.
I have a few of those. All right, let's
confirms
let's
Finn's age.
Show up.
I'm
Let's
sorry.
go around. Scott, are you going live tonight?
I might. Yeah, I think I'm possibly gonna.
All right, so we'll wrap this up so you can do that. But before we go, Heidi, I'll start with you, Scotty. Then you. Is Star Wars playing it safe?
Oh, I don't know.
Ron, he avoids that lore. Radis lore. I guess Radis is Rogue One, but that was the name of the ship.
Yeah, Rogue One.
So, like I said, I think sometimes they play it safe, and I think they play it safe when they're not supposed to, and they take risks when they're not supposed to. That's the feeling I'm getting.
That's a good point. Scotty?
That's the best way I could describe it.
I think that there's enough of the Star Wars timeline to go around for everybody. Okay. I know Star Wars is hot right now and everybody wants to get their hands on Star Wars, but you can have your timeline. You can have your little 78th retelling of how they stole the Death Star plans in Andor 2. If you really want to watch it again, you can. I know they did it in the OT and you're not sick of it yet, but I think they're going to play it safe with the OT stuff, anything that has to do with Luke, but I think it's like anything goes as far as future Star Wars content, as my favorite YouTuber used to say, Mike Zero. But
Mike Zero got into my algorithm the other day. I haven't seen a Mike Zero video in like 8 years, and it was like some nonsense thing, and the guy had like 50,000 views. I was like, man, he's all. I don't care what you can knock Mike Zero. I'm royal. You knock Mike Zero all you want. He's got it, man. He knows what's up. He knows how to play the YouTube game. So good on him. All respect to Mike Zero. By the way, he commented on one of our videos from like 8 years ago. And
that's funny.
I never replied because I just
he said he said that Ahsoka is the one that taught Rey how to make the yellow lightsaber.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he said that many years ago.
He might be right.
Don't make a video. Don't.
I lost my voice.
We're losing your audio too.
Right, I think Star Wars has a tendency to play it safe because they are reactionary, as Scotty said a few weeks ago. But I also think they're tough because fans are ready. Fans are ready for a fight. No, like everyone, like fans are ready to hate Star Wars. Whatever you throw at them, they're ready to come at you with something. Like something will always be wrong and not perfect and not Star Wars enough for them. Whatever it is, I'm talking not all fans, but you know what I mean. Like a lot of online fans. are ready for that. So it's going to always kind of feel that way and seem that way. So I think they are in a tough spot where it's like, how do you do something? And it's easy to say, well, just have good characters that are engaging. And for all we know, Skeleton Crew might be bringing that. But I still feel like because this isn't the quote unquote Star Wars we asked for, nobody asked for Goonies in space. That's it. Like, I think the next thing they do, not I wouldn't do Ahsoka, obviously, but the next original thing they do in Star Wars, just release it. Don't tell us anything. Don't give us cast interviews. Just release it. And let's watch it on its own merits without any backstage baggage to go on, behind the scenes baggage going on. Let's just see what you present to us. Because I find the behind the scenes stuff is really getting in the minds of people as well. And I think I've said this before, Star Wars has a big PR problem, but the media is not helping. They're asking dense, dumbass questions, and they're getting dense, dumbass comments, replies, and then YouTubers can go on and be like, I said this, and it's like, yeah, because the question was horse crap, and that's a big problem. But I think they play it safe, like Heidi said. I think they're wishy-washy, and I think they need to stick to your guns, plan it out, and we'll be good to go. Scotty, tell everybody where you're streaming.
Yeah, the channel is my name. It's Scotty Hawk. Or if you're not a boomer and you know what a handle is, you can do at Scotty Hawk-ish on YouTube, and that will also find my channel. You'll see a holocron in a hawk claw kind of logo going on. But I do try to mix it up with some variety gaming over there. Really hooked on Grand Theft Auto 5 roleplay. So it's basically a modded Grand Theft Auto 5 server where all of the cops are players like myself. A lot of them use a voice. A lot of them are all in on the acting side of this stuff. They're all making clips of it on Twitch and things like that. So there's a lot of character building. It's literally like a real life story, and I'm in a bike gang. It's crazy. So
is it like the Boba Fett bike gang?
Yeah. We all have vibrant colors and
yes
Vespas. There are mopeds. Maybe I should buy a moped and we could RP that out. I could be a Vespa gang for a day. We could do that, chat. Anything's possible.
I have no idea what you're talking.
Well, even more of a reason
and that's
to
why
come
you got...
and watch what happens. Do you know what Sons of Anarchy is? I do that in real life every day.
Okay.
Yep.
Real life? You mean you do that in a video game?
I mean in game. Not real life.
Cheers every day. How about that?
Heidi, you got a book?
Just the same ones as always. You can go to either Anne Drayton on Amazon.com or look under my real name, Heidi Fetter, on Amazon.com. I have a few books there. And just like my stories, they're in Star Wars fans. And the villains and heroines of my stories, there is a thin line between love and hate. Both are passion. So hate for Star Wars in a way is just passion for Star Wars.
I agree with that.
Hold on. Star Wars is dead.
I agree with that too.
In case you were wondering.
If you go to Twitter, I'm usually posting fun little gifts with your videos. So if you go to my Twitter feed, I will have a gift for either videos for Rebel Scum podcast or digital charcuterie.
Digital charcuterie board of digital content. I just posted the link in the chat to his Enchanted Swan on Amazon.com. You can pick it up. Ooh, it's on sale for $2.99 right now on Kindle. Guys. Yeah.
I guess I'm not selling.
Let's see. Is my book on sale? Oh no! What happened? Oh, you got 5-star rating, Heidi.
Yeah, that's from Disney. That's from Disney.
Don't forget to like James' streams too, because he doesn't ever tell you guys to like the stream. I'll do it for him. We're here every week talking Star Wars, man.
Force put the. Hey man, my book's only 1458.
Well, listen, James,
there's only one left, guys.
Listen. You gotta train the chat. You got more people answering the vote than liking the stream, my man. So guys, get in there, like the stream. It helps us get more people in here to argue with our friend Ron about lore that he shouldn't even know the answer to.
It's true, guys. My book. There's only one copy of my book left on Amazon. So I want to see it sold out. I still haven't been paid. I gotta contact them and pay me my 13 cents or whatever. Not Amazon. Ink shares. Pay me my money. Pay me my money.
I got alert my bank. You made $1.05 on the Amazon. I was like, woohoo!
I love those. When I love those. All right, let's wrap it up. Thanks everybody for watching. Chat, you guys have been great. Hit the like, force push the like button though. That's why we're here. Share this video with your friends and loved ones. It makes a very great Christmas present also for everybody to do. We'll be back next.
Seriously, if you hate it, feel free because that helps.
You know, I said that on one video and I got a lot of dislikes. By the way, the video I posted today, why does no one care about Skeleton Crew? The haters are out on that one. It is like it's the other one. The Acolyte Save Star Wars. That one, the butt hurts were all over that one. Butt hurts taking the cake. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, do it all. And until next time, may the force of others. Really appreciate the chat stinging by though. You guys are awesome today. May the force of others be with you.
Watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.